for the regulars. Welcome, I'm Cody Decker.
I'm Tanya Ray Fox.
And we have a lot to discuss in today's landscape of sports because I don't know if you ever heard this, Tanya. Yesterday was the ending of the Olympics, and I am thrilled that they are over. Can I tell you why?
Why? Yeah.
Because I am so sick and tired of sycophants trying to use sports very much as a political sledgehammer against anyone they disagree with, and I am nauseous, and I'm thrilled it's over. I love how much we pretended we cared about snow sports for the last couple of months.
Yeah.
You can't convince me that anyone watched more than that final hockey game on both sides, both men's and women's. I watched a shit ton, and I do mean a shit ton of curling. I did enjoy me some ice skating a little bit, but outside of that, I do not care about the Winter Olympics, and I'm tired of everyone else pretending they do too.
Well, I will say I feel like your optimism that the sycophantic, far-right sort of patriotic nonsense that's been surrounding the coverage of the Olympics from certain people, it's just going to transfer into other things. If anything, it's going to be more annoying because instead of getting, anything, any sort of gold medal joy out of it, it's just going to be, the president showing up in broadcast booths for no reason. So we're just moving into a different season of it.
True, but I do feel the season of seeing weird tweets from someone like Kurt Herbstreit saying, "Glad to see a team that loves America so much is the champions of the world with a gold medalist." Like you don't know what that dog whistle is.
Kirk will not be. I think I spent conservatively 3 months of this season just like weekly saying something about just noting something stupid he'd say.
Yes.
So
you know how bad you have to be that I now dislike your dog? I love dogs more than any human being that currently lives and ever lived. Yet now your dog is a villain to me because you are involved.
The dog suffering. Well, the OG dog passed on.
Yes.
New dog.
Rest in peace.
New dog doesn't get the
No, you don't get the leeway that last one did.
Yeah,
no. And now your owner's mind is melting by the day.
And maybe it's your fault. We're blaming dogs now.
That's fine. Somebody's got to be blamed. That's how it always works here. But you did put together one hell of a rundown, and yes, we will talk about the Olympic hockey of it all because there were two very exciting Olympic finales that, well, hell, even KFC from Barstool had to write out. Heroes for 7 minutes, and I look forward to getting into that.
That surprises me that we even got, when we've got the Barstool people noticing what's what, then we're in deep trouble.
Yes.
And we will be hitting on that, but we are starting off the show. Our top headline is that NFL receiver Rondale Moore was found dead in his Indiana hometown. He, according to all of the reports, it took his own life.
Yes.
And this is becoming more and more frequent in the NFL, it feels. I don't know if that is anecdotal, if it just is like, we have so much access to this information now or what. But I do know that there was an uptick in former NFL player deaths last year in 2025. There were 9 players. And this is a 25-year-old player who still ostensibly in playing
a couple of knee injuries have kept him out the last couple of years. He was a standout at Purdue, but it just hasn't really gotten his pro career kind of going as of yet. But you've mentioned something to me about him that I was not aware of, and that there was actual footage of him, missing like a routine play in like a practice and really just kind of tearing himself to pieces for it.
Yeah, and so there's this video that's circulated of J.J. Watt, who is, by all accounts, as good of a human as he appears to be. Incredibly, kind, thoughtful. He does a lot in his community, but he also is a mentor to players. And especially when he was on the Arizona Cardinals, where Rondale Moore was drafted, there is practice video of him. It must have been from one of the in-season shows. And he's really beating himself up over missing a catch in practice. And pretty clearly the coaches were upset. And so he was really upset. And JJ, sort of talked him through it and was like, you have to go out there and do your job, get the next one, you're going to get the next one, and, talked him through kind of how to talk to himself about it. And it sort of had me thinking about what the emotional and mental health of the players is beyond just, hey, if you after these things happen, we always see the messages. If you need help, reach out, check in on your people, make sure and that's all absolutely fair and valid.
Yes.
But I think in a game where your actual physical health, even if it's not concussions, which every single NFL player has been playing football for a lot of their lives, they have had concussions. It's impossible for them
I've
not to
had
have.
concussions. I wasn't even a football player.
Same. I played soccer and I had multiple concussions. So there's that element of it, but just the emotional and mental weight of playing this game in general. It is obviously the most popular sport in the United States, league in the United States, the most profitable, and these spots are incredibly difficult to hold on to. So you just said the knee injuries. There's other health injuries that you've experienced even as an athlete.
Yes.
What it does to your mental health to not be healthy, to not know if you're going to keep your job. So it's beyond the fact that their brains are being put at risk.
Yes.
There's just the weight of trying to continue to stay a professional athlete. And my question, I feel like, and you're a good person to ask, is, when in a game like the NFL, for these athletes, where we know the NFL hides the intensity and the destructiveness of their injuries.
Yes, they always
be it
have.
Concussions, be it knee injuries, be it hamstrings.
Now, granted, they've gotten a lot better. I will give them some credit. They've gotten significantly better.
Well, they've been forced to,
but they had no choice.
Right, and they've followed protocol on that front to the best. We've got the blue tents, we've got more transparency about that, but we've literally, and you and I've talked about it on the show, we've watched Tua Tagovailoa go out
multiple times
when he shouldn't have been out there, returned sooner than we've watched guys get back out. Not even just Tua, just any random guy. Chris and I will watch a game and I'm like, there's no way he should be out there playing. So they're still doing these things. And my question, and what I want to kind of hit on here, is when is the NFL, and especially the NFLPA, going to sort of mandate more touching base with these players, and because there is a stigma around seeking help that is beyond even just the average person in the world, because seeking help is, guys have talked about it, you can lose your job.
Well,
just for seeking help.
It gets further than that. So there are a lot of aspects of this that are interesting. I can't entirely speak for the NFLPA or the NFL side on this.
Right.
I could speak on it as a baseball player and the MLBPA side of it, and I can tell you exactly there are a lot of fears involved with this, and I want to kind of list them out to you on where these fears actually are. Let's start with just the overall stigma of being a professional athlete and the toughness factor that you have to maintain at all given times. It's almost to a delusional type of degree if you're a pro athlete. I have yet to meet a pro athlete that was not horrifically deluded. And by the way, that's not a knock on them. They all have to be deluded. They all have to believe that they are literally Jesus Christ in their football uniform or their baseball uniform. They have to believe that they are the single greatest thing in the world almost at all times, or else, frankly, if you don't, you are not going to survive not only just the other egos that you're around, but the actual system that's been put into place. Because the system, if you're not a guy that's anointed, the system is working against you at all times, no matter what. I was a guy the system worked against. The system wasn't built for a guy like me. I was a cog on the machine helping those other guys ascend forward. That is not something I aspired to be. That was something I just kind of the role I was put into. So you have that initial aspect of tough, tough, tough. I got to be a man, tough, 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 tough guy. Now you have the aspect of how will this affect my money? And this is where it gets interesting, because I've mentioned to you on the PA side of Major League Baseball how scared they were of wearable technology.
Right.
They didn't want teams to get their biometrics, and I understand why. So it can't be used against the players in arbitration or used in a contract thing. Well, we got your biometrics here, and it says right here your heart rate goes up 10% higher than other players in a.
Now it's acting like an insurance
so
policy.
now
insurance company deciding what you can and
so
can't.
now we can't pay you this amount of money because you don't have the slow heart rate of elite athletes, and they were worried about that. Now, say you have a mental disorder, and by the way, I apologize for how I said that, but like say you have some sort of mental disorder or a deficiency, or
some
say
sort
you
of
are
diagnosis, health,
say you're depressed, say you're upset about something, say you're going through a divorce or a bad breakup and you're hitting
mental
the bottle,
health crisis.
you're hitting the bottle a lot all of a sudden, say you're developing a drug habit, all these things. These are all things that players desperately want to keep to themselves for multiple reasons. One, there is a pride aspect. There's also the aspect that it could be that a shame aspect that could also exist, but there is also the aspect of this organization will have these intimate secrets of me. How will this affect my money in my next negotiation with them? How confidential is any of this? Because I had a mental health coach. The first one I had was in Kansas City in 2016. He was not a real mental health coach. He was somebody that was like a mental coach, but he was not like a licensed practitioner. So I remember he gave me a personality test, and I was really upset with the results of the personality test, going like, wait, so what do you use this for? And he told me, oh, we just keep this for our internal records. I almost wanted to call the PA and have those records sent back to each player, because they shouldn't be able to have that
Right.
if they're not going to do this for anything other than just to have in their records.
Right.
The first team that I truly thought took mental health very seriously, I mentioned to you, is the Arizona Diamondbacks, where they did hire actual licensed people to actually speak to you, therapists to actually get you through that season. Listen, if I can speak on the baseball side, and if it's not the same on the football side, then they're absolutely insane. There's 150 years of precedent not to trust your organizations, and sure as hell not to trust the owners that run said organization. Because any information and data they get, as much as I want to pretend they're for altruistic needs, billionaires did not become billionaires because they're altruistic.
Right.
It's never happened to a single billionaire that's ever existed, and I got some news, it's never going to happen to one that's going to gain existence in the future.
And that is the part of this that every single time this happens, the whole conversation sort of almost absolves the league itself and the players associations themselves of taking steps forward that create a culture that does not make you afraid to say that you need help. It make you afraid for your job, make you afraid for the stigma of it,
Absolutely.
whatever else. Because I think people always think it's the stigma. I think they think, which is fair.
It very
because
well
that is
could be, by the way.
right, and because that's a valid, I think it's universal that we feel that way. But on top of that, there is this unique element that exists in some industries and not in others, where if you go seek help, you are now marked.
Yes, and that could happen. And that is, whether that happens or not happens in today's day and age, I like to believe.
Well, it absolutely happens in the NFL.
Definitely
so
does.
These conversations absolutely happen. These healthcare professionals that they are, encouraged to go see, the fact that you went to see them can often count against you.
It feels like a Mad Men episode where January Jones went to the therapist, and the husband's calling the therapist to get the full rundown of what their meeting was.
And just you going at all. It's like, well, he was at the, and so it's just something to keep in mind, because these aren't things that happen in a vacuum of just casual societal stuff, which of course that there are all those elements, but there is an added element of being in this machine.
Yes.
One of the most well-oiled and shamelessly exploitative machines in all of American corporate culture. And it sucks to be talking about this
specifically after a young man sadly has passed away.
This 25-year-old man, Rondale Moore, who should have had, if not a longer career, a far longer life. And in my world, I don't always do thoughts and prayers, because I don't think that that's necessarily sincere, but sending out light and energy to his family and the people around him, his former teammates, and continuing to talk about these things, so that maybe at some point the narrative shifts enough that the NFL actually cares about their players staying alive.
I mean, the thing is, as much as the NFL has gotten better with this, and they have, and yes, I also agree they have gotten better because they've been forced to get better at it. This is an organization, at least to this point. Now, I'm not saying that it's always going to be this way for the NFL. I have to assume at some point the NFL will come down to a reality, and money will not be made in the way it is at the moment. But the NFL just prints money. Just prints money, prints money, prints money. There shouldn't be a single NFL player who has ever stepped on the field that shouldn't be taken care of with their health and mental health and physical health until the day they die, period. There is that much money and then some to do that. And
Absolutely.
that should be happening.
Couldn't agree more.
That's all. So that's headline one, unfortunately. And headline two, I think, will be at least a little bit more fun. Granted, a little nauseating as well. But let's go over and congratulations to the United States men and women's hockey teams who have both struck gold, both beating Canada in both very exciting games. But then I think a lot of members, and by the way, after the game for the men's side, Beautiful tribute to, of course, their teammate who passed away a couple years
Johnny
ago.
Gaudreau.
Gaudreau, who passed away in a car accident. Children were there. Wife was there in the stands, carried his jersey around. I thought that was beautiful.
Yep, an excellent post-game sort of shout-out to American pride and pride in his country and pride in recognizing his country from Jack Hughes, who scored the winning goal.
Yeah, everything about it was fantastic. Until it wasn't anymore, which you had to know when the Chuck brothers are involved, it's going to divulge into an absolute shit show. But first, before we get to what the shit show became, and now the narrative throughout everything is now about something else, let's go ahead and see the head of the FBI celebrating the win. I believe we have a great footage of this right over here, Moke, don't we? This would be Kash Patel having just... No, not that one, not that one. There's Kash Patel just having the time of his life. Love it. Cool. Just checking. My issue here now, there are a couple of issues here, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. If you're saying, well, what does it matter? He's like FBI director, enjoying that. My issue is very actually on a practical issue, especially with a video that's been going around to him 3 years ago saying the same exact person in his position for getting like $15,000 flight somewhere one time was in shame, and you should give that money back. This was entirely on the United States taxpayers' dime. I have no problem if you want to go to Milan and pay for your ticket and do all these things. How expensive exactly was this so you can go celebrate with the Kachuk brothers? The answer is very expensive. Yes. On top of the national anthems for his girlfriend he's gone to see sing at, I don't know, D3 football games. I mean, this is just, it's... I don't know what to say other than that it's fucking annoying. And it's the same people. It's like, well, you have to love America no matter what. Yet we have to see this shit.
Well, and the frustrating part about it is that, like, this isn't a situation where the men's hockey team was like, you know who we'd love to have in the locker room after this? Kash Patel, the head of the
that's the first thing we say at every party. You know, we need some Patel up in this shit.
We need the feds here, and that's something that everybody really wants. So, like, on top, this is very much a clear propaganda campaign.
Yes.
I mean, this is what they continue to do, and it's getting to the point where it's so obvious, where the push to have this administration like accepted in these spaces is so obvious that it's like insulting. How is your intelligence not insulted at that point? Like, you can't possibly look at this and think that it's just a casual trip for the FBI guy to be there in the locker room with these dudes. By the way, lots of Americans have won gold medals, including the U.S. women's hockey team.
Yes. Who
are extraordinary. Also set records for women's hockey in the history.
Absolutely the most dominant hockey team that's ever been in the Olympics.
And with ratings on top of that.
Yes.
Ratings, even though it was not even on when people were awake here.
On it like 5 a.m. over here because of the time.
And still set ratings. Now, is it an accident that Kash decided that the gold he really wanted to celebrate was the all-white men's hockey team? No, it was not. And he made that quite clear, didn't he, Cody?
He did.
Him and the president made it clear that it was the men they really wanted.
Well, it was really nice of the president to call in, who invited the team, men's team specifically, out for the State of the Union that he described in the call. Oh, it's going to be a great party. It's the greatest night of the year. The State of the Union is not a fucking party, and especially in the state of this current union. But let's go ahead and play that wonderful phone call that made it onto the internet, because now the narrative is shift. From congratulations Team USA to, wow, this is a team full of assholes, huh? Mind playing that clip?
Just like you did at the ice. Thank you, Mr. President. Now we'll do it at the White House anytime. What would really be cool, and we'll do the White House the next day, we'll just have some fun. We have medals for you guys. And we have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
Absolutely. So funny. Isn't it funny? The lady folk, we're going to have to invite them too, because the ladies, they also did something.
There was an opportunity for Quinn Hughes, or both Jack and Quinn Hughes, to, sorry, we got distracted. There was an opportunity for the Hughes brothers to have this incredible moment. They had a ton of goodwill heading into not only this game, but this Olympics. And also Jack Hughes had this amazing goal, and then they end up in this situation where not only are they there celebrating with Kash Patel, I could ostensibly let it slide. You're there, you're celebrating, you're not really fully experiencing the Kash Patel of it all. You're just there with your brothers, right?
Sure.
But when the president decides to take a shot at the women's hockey team and you're Quinn and Jack Hughes standing there laughing, I have to wonder, did you forget who your mother
Your
is?
mom is literally the trailblazing coach of this team that just set all these records. That's the thing that bothers me. And I'm not going to point the finger specifically at them, even though I want to specifically blame them. But like, it's not just them; it's anybody in the room. Was there an adult in the room at any given moment yesterday?
But like, that's the thing is like, I don't want to be unrealistic and say like, how come all of these racist, homophobic guys acted racist and homophobic, but Jack Hughes specifically is not homophobic.
Extremely outspoken
he is
for
an
LGBTQ
ally in the NHL, has been very explicit about it, has stood on it, and he's doubled down on it. He has never wavered on it. He's not the only one, but he is a star who is vocal about it. I do think at some point the way to change these things is when people who have investments in other marginalized groups step forward. Is it fair to put more weight on the Hughes than the Kachucks? I don't care. I am
That's
done
fair.
feeling bad for white men who feel like they have to step up when other white men don't. I don't fucking care. And their mother won a silver medal with the women's national hockey team in 1992 at the World Championships. Their mother is a development coach, is the talent development coach on this active team, has a gold medal with this team right now. That's their mother. And they are laughing on the phone with this disgusting, misogynistic, racist man. And like, it's just another reminder that even some of the people who consider themselves allies to some other marginalized groups, when it comes to the locker room mentality and being embraced by power, forget to stand up for their own fucking mother.
It's weird that I got to do it. It's weird because in 2017, I played for Israel in the World Baseball Classic. Now, you know where I stand very much politically. And yes, I definitely was happy and at the time, very, very honored to represent Israel back then and that thing. But there was a time after we swept through Korea, we beat we beat Korea, we beat Chinese Taipei, and then we beat the Netherlands to move on. We got asked in our locker room post-game, hey, would you guys like to take a phone call from Benjamin Netanyahu? And there was about 5 of us that they asked. And this was a particular group that was very unique because each one of us almost laughed at the question going, no, are you kidding? You want us to yell at him? No, we are not taking that phone call.
So listen to that. It is actually
this was 2017, by the way. That aged really well on our part.
Not that hard to stand on principle. It's just not. Oh my God, what's going to happen? A bunch of like Kash Patel fans and Trump fans are going to no longer watch the New Jersey Devils or whoever it is that you're playing for. What is like if insulting your mother isn't enough to get you to be like, I'm not going to laugh at that one, or I'm going to maybe check out of this phone call, then nothing will. And I think that like, yes, the whole team, everybody who is there celebrating in that way, laughing at Trump, enjoying the call, everybody who goes and visits him at the White House is equally culpable. It's
I
not
agree.
like what, but like it's important. Like I think the fact that even the most redeemable members of the team, the people who have stood up within the NHL circles, within hockey circles, is being won over by this like big moment is. We would be remiss to not point out that this is the sort of groupthink and the sort of
tribalism that we deal with all the time.
But that's exactly what Trump wanted.
Yes.
And he got it. He gets it every single time he does this stuff and he gets people to show up there. It's why I told you I was so disappointed with Dave Roberts. And
I'm disappointed in him right now because they're planning to go again. And frankly, I don't know how, especially... I'm sorry, specifically with this, and again, I love Dave Roberts. He's my favorite guy maybe in all of baseball. It's not a Dave Roberts thing. It's more just a thing in general. I don't know how any team specifically that represents Los Angeles specifically
right now
could ever step foot and shake hands with him right now. I don't see that universe. That makes sense to me.
Like the idea that you feel honored, that it's nice and you want to be honored by someone who would undercut the achievements of your players, of your mother, of your whoever, your sisters, whatever. And then there's the added, final little part of this that is the real kick in the teeth. That is, which you and I, not a new concept, but the repeated cry that we need to protect women's sports from trans athletes.
Oh, yeah. We're protecting them a lot. But then we're going to laugh and snicker at them. Oh, only reason we know about it is because somebody was recording. And that's what it drives me nuts. Everything is a narrative. Until someone's recording you catching the thing, we already fucking know about you.
Yeah.
And it's just annoying. And don't worry, those of you that were wondering whether or not the women's team are going to the State of the Union, well, they put out a lovely response declining, and they declined with very, very good grace. We do have a post of that thing. We are sincerely grateful for the invitation extended to our gold medal winning U.S. women's hockey team and deeply appreciate the recognition to their extraordinary achievement, which I think was the nicest way of telling someone to go fuck themselves I've ever read.
Yeah, I know that there's a very specific tactic they're using there to sort of be gracious in that response. I think sometimes we would love to see the big old middle finger response, but obviously, women athletes are already under attack. They're already, this is an administration that is using trans women to attack women's sports across the board. And, you have to play a specific game. You have to be, I understand why they did this. The amount of times that women are asked to be gracious in these moments is frustrating, but I'm incredibly proud of them. I think that to see the juxtaposition of what they've done and how they've built up their sport and how much the American public truly loved rooting for them against the men's team with the Kachucks and these players who were so insufferable that a lot of fans were rooting for Canada.
Yes.
And then got some goodwill. Finally got some goodwill with their win. We were like, you know what? That's pretty cool. We're pretty excited. Jack Hughes, great. They just wipe it away. And the idea, it's like, do you guys actually think that as soon as a trans woman tries to play hockey, right? As soon as a trans woman wants to be on the national team, suddenly it's going to be, we have to protect these great women. We have to protect these great, wonderful women and their great, wonderful hockey team. But as of right now, all those cisgender women are being made jokes of. So every time you guys talk about this administration deciding they want to help women's athletes and build up women athletes and keep women athletes safe, misogyny and sexism doesn't keep women safe, doesn't grow the sport, doesn't help these sports become
These are
anything.
the same assholes who are yelling and screaming nonstop about women's sports Sundays. It's the same group of people. Keep men out of women's sports, but also a whole night for women's sports.
But the women will be heroes again to Trump as soon as a trans woman wants to play, because that's the game that they use.
Well, of course, because at some point a woman's going to finish fifth in a swim meet, and that's just going to happen.
Tie for fifth.
Tie for fifth in a swim meet,
Yes.
and somehow is shamelessly going to swindle millions out of people
Someday
ever
a trans
since.
woman's going to lose to 4 cisgender women, and it's going to cause, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the men's team back on the shit list, where they belong.
Yep.
Women's team forever. Women's U.S. hockey, thank you so much for being the heroes that we deserved, and I really hope that they continue to shine in everything
Completely
that they do. We are moving into probably the lightest thing that we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
today.
it's interesting,
But,
and I'm very interested to get your take on
Yeah.
it. But I have a little bit of personal things vested
Disclaimers?
in it. Yeah, little disclaimers. I have worked in the gambling sphere for the last couple of years, so I want to make it abundantly clear that I do have a pretty good idea about how the gambling industry works, even though I also think no one truly knows how the gambling industry works, but I have a better idea than most people.
Sure.
I definitely know how to propose prop bets, work on prop bets, and see all the time. So, a very famous future bet would be something along the lines of the NBA MVP.
Sure.
And at the top of the list of this year's MVP, same names as you always see. You got the Jokers in there, you got the Lukas in there, same SGAs, obviously,
Yeah.
trying to get his title back. But there is another name that's being mentioned and thrown around right now. But the name didn't really get thrown around until last night.
It's been out there. There have been people making the argument, just like there is for any sort of fringe MVP
Yes.
candidate.
And there is a fair argument for Jaylen Brown to be considered over at the
Sure.
Celtics to be an MVP. No Jason Tatum. He's got the team on his back. He's averaging over 7 rebounds a game. He's averaging around 30 points a game. He's having a monster
Well,
year.
let's get to the actual headline because we've been beating around the bush.
But the
LeBron
headline-
James
yeah,
has endorsed Celtics Jaylen Brown for MVP.
Yes.
And on its face,
No problem.
okay, LeBron, that's fine. Do I find it a little goofy that he's endorsing someone who just beat him for MVP? Of course I do. That's classic LeBron. He's like, this guy is amazing. Probably the best player in the league. That's probably why he beat us. Classic LeBron. The to your point, like depending on your idea of what a valuable player is in the NBA, sure.
Yeah.
I'm a Celtics fan. Would love to see it. You know.
They are second in the East right now.
Second in the East without Jason Tatum,
And a
yeah.
season where everyone wrote him off. Listen, there are legitimate arguments you can make for him, but let's just go ahead and look at the gambling odds, shall we? Let's start with the company that I've worked with the most, BetMGM. Here is the BetMGM gambling odds right now. You got SGA minus 140, so a pretty smart bet, even though there's no real value there. Nikola Jokic, of course, plus 310, going for his fourth. Luka, Victor Wembanyama, Cade Cunningham at plus 500. And there you go, Jaylen Brown, plus 5,000. So the odds of him getting this are not great. Now, if you want to take a stab and possibly get yourself a great payout and he goes absolutely off the rest of the season, that plus 5,000 is looking pretty good. Now let's go ahead and look over at another website, FanDuel. Exactly the same odds, plus 5,000. Interesting. All these odds are relatively
Same
similar.
players ahead of him in whatever order.
A little jockeying of order. The money's a little different. Specifically, Cade Cunningham was plus 500 to plus 650. Now, that's
Yeah.
a difference of 150, not a ton.
Sure.
But you see right there, Jaylen Brown also at plus 5,000. Now, where does this get interesting in what we're talking about? Well, LeBron James is the key spokesperson for DraftKings. Let's take a look at DraftKings. And where does DraftKings have plus 3,000 at DraftKings? That is a differential of 2,000 points, and I don't know what to say other than that's a lot, and this is weird.
It's notable, especially considering it's the only sports book that has him above Luka Doncic.
Yes.
And now there's a few things to note
LeBron's
here that are
teammate.
interesting coincidences. Luka Doncic is LeBron's teammate.
Mm-hmm.
There are varying and various and sundry reports about how much LeBron loves playing with Luka or doesn't. I don't actually really care. I think he's perfectly fine with Luka.
Mm-hmm.
But worth noting, there's the fact that LeBron is a DraftKings ambassador. And whether this is a coincidence, probably.
Probably.
But the fact that this very obvious conflict of interest exists with professional athletes now is deeply troubling. To be a DraftKings ambassador and then name publicly your pick for MVP is patently ludicrous behavior. This is the kind of stuff that, had it been happening 10 to 15 years ago, there would be
Investigations
massive.
galore.
There'd be investigations. It would be front page news. We'd be talking about insider trading and whatever else, right? I had to find this story on my own. This is not me pulling a headline. I looked
wild.
at this and said, hold on. Now, hold on. Let me just take a quick look at DraftKings odds compared to everybody else. And this, it's one of those, like, when you do research, the whole thing is that you're actually trying to prove your research wrong. You want to actually have a thesis and prove yourself wrong. That's how you get the best results. So I'm going and I'm like, I'm going to just double check that I'm sure that all the odds are the same, or at least in the same order. And then we find out what we've found out.
Quite a difference. Quite a difference.
We are getting to a very scary tipping point, specifically in the NBA, which already has gambling scandals, people being prosecuted for gambling scandals.
By the way, can I also give you the real difference in that bet?
Yes.
All those other sports books, those are 30-1 odds.
Right.
This one is, I'm sorry, the other ones are 50-1 odds.
Okay.
This one's 30-1 odds.
Yeah, like it's so different.
That's a very
that
drastic
it's
difference.
hard to not, it's hard to not draw some sort of parallel. Now, these odds are today's odds, and I imagine because
I literally
they were
pulled
updated
them
this
all.
morning.
No, I pulled them all right before the show
Right,
started.
so this is post LeBron saying this. I don't have access to the odds prior to LeBron saying this. I'm sure that there are historic odds that we could look up.
I'm just saying
But
it's
now,
weird.
would that be interesting to note? Who knows?
Who knows?
Because what is to stop one of LeBron's, and again, this is not accusations, it's more hypotheticals. What's to stop LeBron telling one of his friends, I'm going to say, I think Jaylen Brown is MVP tonight. Now would be a good time to place your bet.
It's very
Now,
illegal, but how do you prove it?
and I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying LeBron did this. What I'm saying is that this is where what we're running into by having these conflicts of interest is that if at any point in time LeBron sitting around with the buddies talked about how he thinks Jaylen Brown's MVP and then happens to go out and then his friends happen to place a bet and then they happen. We're now, do I think he's stupid enough to do that? I don't. He just publicly said LeBron was, or that Jaylen Brown should be MVP. I actually don't think he's stupid enough to have told his friends to place bets on Jaylen Brown.
I sure hope not.
But this is, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's massive issues
This
here.
is a massive issue, and you know what it gives me the feeling of? Do you not remember how volatile the crypto market was based on certain tweets? Whether it was like Elon threw out a tweet, and all
I'm
of a
not
sudden
gonna lie,
the
I've
crypto
never looked
market.
at the crypto market.
Well, how
in my
about
life,
this?
but I'm
It's
gonna
a
trust
shit
you.
show.
I'm going to trust you.
It
on
was
this
a
one.
shit
Yeah.
show, and
Yeah.
right now the crypto market's actually is not doing great right
Yeah.
now. But remember how like every week, oh man, crypto's up way big because of a tweet of bullshit
Yeah.
that was put out because it's all nonsense. This is what that feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like I put out a tweet. I'm going to change the gambling market. Now, is that what he intentionally did? I personally do not believe so. But I do not
He
think
is
it
a bit
looks
of a
good.
chaos agent at this point,
He
and you
is.
know what? He's allowed to get away with it because he's LeBron and whatever else. And again, this is a larger issue that's being highlighted by the most famous athlete in the United States. So just worth noting. And you know, we do a little bit of our own version of investigative journalism on this podcast.
Little bit.
a
That's
little.
why this is called Tanya Ray Fox Finds Out. Headline number 4. This one near and dear to me. It's actually kind of fun. This is actually the only fun thing I think
It
we
actually
get to talk
probably
about.
is, yeah.
Shohei-
Although the last one was pretty funny.
It was. Shohei Ohtani, one-way player for the WBC, which means he's only going to be DHing. He does not have insurance to pitch.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what
so
it is.
I built this rundown, and then you had to teach me about the story that I put in because I was thinking that he wasn't even going to play.
No,
but
no,
it's just-
he is okay to DH.
Yeah.
He is not okay to pitch, but that's really a decision up to him. So
Okay.
he would be probably personally liable for whatever that takes place if he goes out there and pitches.
Right.
And he said he's not going to, but let's be real clear. He said if Mike Trout's out there, it will
Yeah.
be very tempting. And I
Yeah.
love that response because if you remember the last WBC, the most electric at bat I've ever watched, Mike Trout versus Shohei Ohtani to end the WBC.
It was one of, so, you know, I watch baseball. I love baseball, but I don't watch it the way that I used to. And I don't find myself getting as invested outside of my specific teams that I root for
Yeah.
as I used to. But the World Baseball Classic and that moment, I genuinely think if it was during the heyday of baseball, would be remembered as one of the greatest sports moments in all of history.
It was incredible.
I couldn't believe it was happening. I could not believe it happened the way that it did. These two former teammates up against each other with the entire game on the line was just like perfection. It was thrilling. And so when I was seeing this, I was like, do you think in some way, shape, or form this is like a step backwards for the World Baseball
I do not.
Classic because of how wonderful that was?
I don't. I think this is going to be awesome. I think there's enough new stars influxed into it, and we do have Shohei Ohtani in this tournament.
Right.
We got Aaron Judge in this tournament. The thing that I just think is going to be the rude awakening is even without Shohei Ohtani on the mound, they don't need him, by the way.
Yeah.
He's
Just another reminder of how good Japan
Let's
is.
just remember that Japan is better than us at baseball.
Yeah.
And they're going to probably prove to us again that they're better
How do
than
you
us
feel
at baseball.
about, by the way, while we're here, how do you feel about Team USA?
It's a solid team. It's
Yeah.
about as good of a United States
Okay.
born players you
Yeah.
put together. The problem is, I also see what the Dominican Republic has.
Sure.
That's a Hall of Fame team around the
Team USA
diamond.
has always been they've been underdogs
Yeah.
in this situation.
And
so
it's
that's
not
okay.
because they
Yeah.
don't have great players. They got superstars on that team. I look at Japan, I look at Dominican Republic, and I do not know. I'm not positive we're finishing in the top 3. Netherlands is a nasty team year in every single time.
Are there any?
Korea's good.
Are there major league players on that Netherlands at all?
I haven't actually seen this
I don't
year's
think so,
roster.
yeah.
If they've taken a step back, they might have because
Yeah.
Netherlands always has those like Caribbean.
Oh, right.
Islands.
That's true. That's
so it's
true. Yeah,
always
yeah.
like they don't have like an Anderson Simmons
Oh,
and
okay. That's right. I
Jair
forgot about that.
Jurgens who took steroids and got away with it
Yeah.
playing against us and beat us in
Not
in
that you're
Japan.
still thinking about it.
I don't remember.
Yeah, no, you're not still salty about that at all. But I love that. I love that you're getting me excited for World Baseball
I'm
Classic.
excited.
So, you know, as it happens, I'm
So
sure that'll be fun
just
stuff for us to
enjoy
talk
it.
about.
Enjoy it while it
Yeah.
lasts. We have 3 weeks before more assholes commandeer sports for political
Oh yeah,
reasons.
exactly. We were just talking about this. We're going to get back
We
into
get
national.
You get
yeah.
3 weeks.
Now these baseball players have been forewarned. If you guys win shit, if you do something cool, just so you know, you see how we react
Click
to
ignore.
the U.S. men's
You
hockey
click
team?
ignore. You see the
Do
number.
not answer.
Click ignore. If you see
Do not-
Washington D.C., you fucking hammer ignore.
It's spam. Please ignore it.
They just want to talk to you about your new lending application that you just signed that you
Yeah.
didn't sign.
All right.
I've been getting a lot of those calls.
Well, we did it. We this was the first time we did 4 headlines, by the
We
way.
did.
Just so we're clear, that was a big deal for us.
We're
and we did it in a
professionals.
timely fashion.
We're so good.
Sometimes you have to reveal your own little tricks from behind the scene while you're actually doing in the middle of the podcast. And I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous about 4 headlines. I think we actually crushed it.
I think we crushed it too, and let's get over to Media Corner because let's get rid of all those good vibes. I hate Dana White more than I think I hate any pundit in sports now.
I'm with you.
Dana White, it's funny that we're talking about this Dana White story. Media Corner 1. Dana White scolds the media after the UFC event this week because of the comments from Sean Strickland last week. Now, those of you that missed the comments from Sean Strickland last week, in case you don't know this, Sean Strickland basically has brain damage, and he's a repugnant human being who hates gays, trans people, and throwing around slurs left and right like you wouldn't believe at a press
Sort of a
conference.
classic, well-rounded bigot.
Yeah, just like every single he had all the greatest hits you could have possibly hit in one press conference. And you'd think after the week we had last week, what we saw in soccer, and also, which is funny enough, Paramount Plus putting out those statements because they have all that soccer coverage. We watched the coverage and those people saying this has to end right now.
Right.
And then 2 days later, Paramount Plus putting out this wonderful Sean Strickland press conference and really seemingly having nothing to say after the fact on that. So good on you on the soccer world, and we'll just keep the brain damage over here in America.
I mean, we know. To be fair to us, I guess I would have expected nothing less from Dana White than to defend a bigot and attack the media in that defense.
But the reason why I bring up the soccer story is just how that coach, Jose Mourinho, how he
Jose
came out
Mourinho.
and he immediately goes out and gaslights the player. No, well, it's kind of his fault for bringing the racism on him. Same shit Dana White just pulled.
Yep.
In the same week, he just said, "Man, you reporters, you ask him stupid questions, you get stupid shit."
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
No. Fucking no. Fucking no. I don't know what to say other than fucking no. This is insane that's your response. It's insane that you're getting away with it. But then again, this is also a man who on video slapped his wife at a club and seemingly nothing happened to him. So,
Which is not unique to Sean Strickland or Dana White or anybody else in the UFC or wrestling.
they're not
or
building enough
the
new stars.
combat
How about
world.
scrap the UFC and call it a day?
Well, and the thing is, like, these were they were questions about like Bad Bunny and the halftime show and whatever, right? Like, when you're a reporter and you're asking a bigot questions about a topic that has invited a lot of bigotry, you're very likely going to get bigotry as a response. Now, reporters have 2 options in that situation: platform more bigotry in order to expose him and hopefully change something, right? Hey,
Wrong
just
sport.
reminding everybody, Strickland is a real bigot, right? But somebody on the other end has to be there to hold that accountable. And Dana White is making it clear that, like, no matter what these guys say, I'm not changing anything, so don't try. And so it puts reporters in an interesting situation, which, you know, I've been quite harsh on reporters on this show. I don't think that inherently asking about the Super Bowl or Bad Bunny is a problem. I do wonder, when you're part of a media base that covers a sport, a combat sport, really any of the combat sports at this point, which are fairly conservative and do feature these kinds of athletes, how far it's worth pushing it. Not because I think that these guys should be protected from saying bigoted shit. They should be exposed. But I think there needs to be maybe some new approaches to how they expose these athletes, expose Dana White, whatever else, because you can only have an athlete held accountable by somebody who is willing to hold someone accountable for bigotry. Dana White's worse than Strickland.
Yes.
Like,
No,
so you're not going to get this guy in trouble by platforming him with saying bigoted stuff.
I feel like what we really need to do at the end of the day, are we pretending that UFC is a healthy sport filled with healthy athletes that are taken care of with
No,
their?
but I mean, I don't, I will say brain damage doesn't make you a bigot.
No, I'm not.
Right?
By the way,
Yeah.
if you think I apologize.
No,
I
know
sure as
you're
hell not.
saying that.
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify.
No, yeah.
For,
No,
'cause
I
know you're not.
completely
Yeah.
agree with that. Why do we have the UFC at this point?
It's a great question.
I just want to know what the point is.
Well, and the issue that they are losing ratings. They are losing like.
We already got the
fan base.
MAGA company in WWE,
I'm just
and
like
somehow their health coverage is better for their athletes,
Yeah.
which is fucking saying something.
Well,
God.
yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just is like kind of at the point now where I think no matter who you try to talk to underneath Dana White, he is the most, I mean, we talk a lot about Roger Goodell and these other commissioners and whatever. Dana White is I would say the one with the most power and the most dangerous, and he's the most tied into the extremism of the right. Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frankie agrees about he got really
Franklin doesn't like Dana White.
he doesn't like Dana White.
He's your facts.
He's the most tied into the extremism of the right, and so I think that it's going to take some. This is no shade to the reporters at all.
No.
I actually think they're in a really tough position.
They are.
But I do think it's going to take some extra media work and some crafty work in that space to make any sort of difference. And Dana White is, when you're shameless and you're not punished for that shamelessness, when you're bigoted and you're not punished for that bigotry, and you're in charge of a billion-dollar company, the media is fighting a losing battle. And I would like to see them try to find some maybe more investigative ways or more like creative ways to work around.
Yeah, it's just quite the juxtaposition of
Yeah.
what we're dealing with in multiple sports right
Yeah,
now. And
there's it's crazy because as bad as that is, and as difficult as the job is for reporters in combat sports and elsewhere, the biggest story in media, bar none, right now,
man.
is what happened at the BAFTAs
Yes.
on Sunday.
I can't believe this is a thing that actually
These are
took
the
place.
British. This is the
British
version
Oscars.
of the Oscars
Yeah.
because some people don't really know, right? So this is the British version of the Oscars, and the what you and I are going to get into specifically because there are some groups of people I think that are speaking very well for themselves and on behalf of their groups of people.
Yes.
So we're going to step in as people in the media, people on this side of things who can lend some credibility to the conversation on that end of things.
Yes.
And the incident itself was that John Davidson, who is
Yes.
a Scottish Tourette's activist and bringing awareness and attention to Tourette's, was a subject of a nominated film called I Swear, where he is portrayed in this film.
Yes.
And so he was in attendance at the BAFTAs. And the audience at the BAFTAs itself and viewer were warned that there was somebody in the audience with Tourette's who was prone to outbursts and that some things could be said and that, hey, this is like sort of whatever.
And there were several things said throughout the show.
And there were several things said throughout the show. There were some like just derogatory just remarks sort of made, swear words, cuss words, like whatever else yelled out. But most specifically, while Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, two nominated actors and stars of the movie Sinners,
Yes.
were presenting an award, this John Davidson was in the crowd and yelled out the N-word with a hard R, audibly.
And it was during a quiet moment,
During a quiet
too.
moment.
And the camera and the look on both their faces. And by
They
the way,
were
to their credit, the
very clearly, yeah.
outrageous professionalism that they got through that, I can only imagine.
They clearly heard it. They reacted to it, recovered, and continued on.
Man.
At some point, according to reporting, he decided to get up shortly after that and leave the show of his own accord after several instances of these tics happening. And then Alan Cumming at some point as the host of the award show.
I mean this from bottom of my heart. I love Alan
love Alan
Cumming.
Cumming,
That
yeah.
being said, This, I understand the statement that he put out, and I do also understand it was likely a statement that was handed to him
Yes.
from lawyers in corporate ahead of him.
Yeah, and it was probably it was very likely pre-prepared.
Yes. That being said, dude.
It was essentially saying that like we understand there's been strong and offensive language and asking people for understanding and grace.
Which I have to agree, that statement needs to be made.
Right. It just
After
left out,
the first statement that was
It left out the
very much left
it
out.
left out the apology that the award show should have made for Michael.
We
B. and
apologize to
Delroy
Delroy and Michael very much, and we cannot thank them enough for their professionalism through this very troubling moment. But
Right.
we'd also like to bring light to a situation, and then the statement can go on from there.
Right.
Any version of that is digestible enough. But the fact that it's not that didn't happen, it wasn't even mentioned.
No.
And that's insane to me.
It was not mentioned. And so that's where, the whole thing happening the way it did off the rails, this is where things get truly difficult to defend for the BAFTAs and for the broadcast.
Yes.
And what happened afterward is that a separate filmmaker in his acceptance speech ends it by saying, for Nigeria, for London, Congo, Sudan, free Palestine.
Yes. That was edited out of the actual BAFTAs.
That was edited out of the BAFTAs,
Yes.
which was censored. Am I surprised? No.
No.
They edited it down. They're going to use it as an excuse. They needed time. They needed to cut
Yada,
stuff.
yada,
Whatever,
yada,
right?
whatever.
So they're
That's
gonna
one
we
sentence,
know
by the way.
Right. We know exactly what they're going to say. We know exactly what they're doing. What they didn't edit out was the audible hard R N word.
Interesting.
Yelled at Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan. A truly indefensible choice. And they did try to defend it by saying the producers didn't hear the slur as working in a truck followed second BAFTA's apology. So they say that they're working in a truck, they didn't hear the N-word, and so not only did they not bleep it out on the delay, which should have happened in the original broadcast, but they didn't even somehow hear it for the re-air.
This is mind-boggling for multiple reasons. One, you knew it happened when it happened because the entire media world
impossible
blew
to not hear
up over this.
It's also impossible
in real
to not hear
time,
it.
by the way.
Yeah.
And it was also very impossible not to hear it, as you said. I'm even forgetting the fact that it was very clearly said.
Right.
It's impossible that you missed this in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So the decision to keep it in and edit out other things is absurdly glaring.
and very intentional.
Yes.
And the thing is, as somebody who I have worked in live production trucks, okay, I have been a part of live productions where you're in the truck and you're seeing what's what, and you're doing the delays, you're hitting the buttons, you're making sure you're following all of these things. To miss it. I don't know if the show was not on a delay. If it wasn't, it should have been. If so there's a lot of people who were let down here.
Can I be honest why it happened? I know why it happened.
Well,
you know why it happened.
I think that more importantly for you and I is to say that like I have been in this industry for a really long time.
Yes.
I can say for certain, no questions, I have no issue putting my name on it, that there is no way to miss this in the live or miss it in the re-air specifically. And
Agreed.
I want to make that part clear.
I want to make it clear, I don't have proof of this. This is just my personal
Sure.
opinion. It was very much left in there intentionally. They wanted it in there because they wanted more people to tune in for these repeat viewing so that people could wait and see it.
Right.
That is why they left it in there. It was not left out
And I don't think that's
unintentionally.
crazy.
They were hoping that the re-airs would just generate more money.
Which is
I'm sorry, that's what they
genuinely-
did.
It's genuinely horrific, not only to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, but to John Davidson,
Mm-hmm.
who,
Who immediately apologized, by the way, put out a statement.
he did not apologize.
Oh, he did not.
No.
I read the apology. You're
Yeah.
right. It was one of those apologies. We're sorry that you were offended type of thing.
Yes, it was. We're sorry if you thought that I was saying something.
He said he was very
intentionally.
hurt that anyone feel that his affliction had any bigotry behind it whatsoever.
No, God,
Something
I wish he
along
used
the
the
line.
word bigotry.
Yeah,
but it was
sorry,
he parsed essentially, and the supposed apology was essentially if you thought that there was intention or meaning behind those words, there wasn't.
Well,
which I hate to
I didn't
break
hear
it to
those
you.
words the
Yeah.
rest of the night.
And I'm not going to lie, there's always meaning behind words. That's the thing about words. But at the end of the day, I actually do feel like all of these people were set up to fail by the BAFTAs and by BBC. He was, first of all, as somebody who insists that these are not views of his and who warned and was likely told by the BAFTAs and by the BBC that he would be given some level of grace in the broadcast for any outburst that occurred, for them to include him saying the worst thing he said all night, again, as a tick, is horrible to him.
Yes.
And especially horrible to the two men on stage.
Every aspect
two of
of
our
it.
greatest living actors being honored for a generational film.
Yep.
Nobody was taken care of or treated fairly in this situation, but most specifically, you know, I think there is a real thing that happens between especially Brits and Americans, where there are two American films featuring the stories of Black American survival, and there's trauma mixed in with culture, mixed in with all of the beauty and heartache and brutality of the Black American experience. Two films nominated. They are in two of those films.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that is juxtaposed with getting on a stage and being called the worst of the racial slurs that you could possibly call a Black American, you know, it's an indefensible thing for them to have to experience. It is not on you or I to decide how the disability community responds to this, how the Black community responds
Couldn't
to
agree
this.
more.
But what we can tell you is that all of these people were set up to fail by the broadcast itself and the award show itself.
Mm-hmm.
So take that for what you will, and then based on the reaction that all of these people are getting, who is being defended in this situation, decide exactly what you think that the BAFTAs and the BBC were trying to tell you. Mm-hmm. And that's why we talk about media stuff, is to say, like, if you know these things and you have these facts in front of you, no questions about it, now you can have a more informed opinion of what you're reading. And at the end of the day, having a little bit of grace for everybody never hurts, but there is harm done in words, with words, and including them specifically when you could have spared a lot of people from having to hear that and see that again was a choice.
No, it was absolutely a choice, and I'll tell you what the choice was. They wanted people to see it. There is no other explanation other than they wanted them to see it.
I hope they're prepared for the best black actors in this country to stop going to the BAFTAs. I hope it was
think
worth
that'd be
it.
nice. But like, here's the thing: that's the BAFTAs. That's their Oscars. I mean, this BAFTAs will be remembered for this. Like that one Oscar that was remembered for controversy with the wrong card going out and the wrong. It's just. I guess the BAFTAs needed the ratings pretty bad if they actually had to pull this off in the repeat viewing. I mean, that's just what it is.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
we're going to try ourselves a new segment to sign off today, and it's called "Why Are We Like This?"
Yeah.
Tanya, can you please explain to the people
Sure.
why we are like this?
So why are we like this is sort of a like sitting down as sports media and fans, which we are both, and engaging with things like that make us wonder why we are like this, why we put ourselves through this occasionally. And
Wait, can you do me a favor before we get into the story? I'm going to do an impression of my mother. Can you name the player that you're going to talk about right now?
Paul Pierce.
Oh.
Oh, now what is that?
My mom tried to shoot her shot at Paul Pierce a year ago.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, we were out at a bar at Shay J in Santa Monica. My mom got really drunk. And
Shay J?
Yeah, we were at Shay J, me, Michelle Beadle, and Paul Pierce. And Paul Pierce's like 20-year-old beautiful model girlfriend and my mom. And my mom shot her shot. She's like, "You got to come check out my jacuzzi." And he's like, "You've never seen my jacuzzi." And I'm sitting here, me and Michelle are losing our mind.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, you are unprofessional. Wow, that's
That's
embarrassing.
wild.
That's embarrassing. You should be ashamed of yourself.
That's never
And you just ruined Terry's beautiful story. Now she's never going to get to talk to Paul Pierce ever again.
What if it was Paul?
Well, Paul heard what we were saying. It's like, is Terry still
He's like,
available?
"I'm watching live."
Still is.
Paul's in the
She's
chat.
right here. The jacuzzi's warm.
I think Terry's iconic for that, quite honestly, and I think she
I
should
thought it was
continue to do that
hilarious.
for forever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
She really tried.
Well, maybe she'll love this story because Paul Pierce is trying to fix the 3-point line.
I saw that.
And this is why I include this as why we like this, because aren't we all always trying to fix the 3-point line?
Yes, we are.
We're all always trying to figure out
By
how
the way,
we
can I just say
Sure.
no to what he's about to say,
hold
but
on. You don't give it away.
no. I want to say I fucking love it.
Okay.
But I love it.
Yes, right. Okay, I think we're on the same page. So Paul Pierce, do you have this tweet in there?
Yes,
Okay.
I do not have it on the screen, but I will read it out.
Okay.
Like you, I could turn it. So basically,
Oh, wait, no, I
no,
have it, I
that's
have
just
it.
the tweet that I say. So basically, what is going on is Paul Pierce.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Like you can. So he wants to change the 3-point line to an LED line that
Yes.
just comes and goes based on, I don't know. He didn't give a very
Basically, a
detailed idea.
pinball machine type of thing that if you want to get the bonus, the
build it into the
LED
court,
line needs to
yep.
be lit.
And he says you can turn it off, turn it back on certain times of the game. Like if you're down 10 with 3 minutes in the fourth, it's just ridiculous how I have watched games. It would be next 3 minutes of all threes, like 48 minutes of the game is the 3-point line should be on 30 minutes. Then we should see who got game. Then you get to get buckets now. You can't just be launching. You have to go get your money. So he wants some sort of version of you get the 3-point line for this long and then it gets turned off. The LED light gets turned off. Okay?
Again, I
Now,
love this idea.
it's-
The answer is fuck no.
So someone underneath goes, they just sort of like a hypothetical conversation where it's, sir, it's looking like the over in the Lakers-Spurs game is a lock. Turn the 3-point line off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, of course, like, the obvious joke, which is genuinely so
But it's
funny.
also exactly
But
what
the
would
idea
happen.
that you could turn the 3-point line off is really funny. And yes, of course, this is absurd. It is so patently absurd. There is something about it that is
All right.
so enticing.
It is. Can
It's
I tell
like-
you how this could work? There is a way to make it work.
Okay, so hold
There's
on.
only one way to do it, though.
Let's establish right now that our biggest gripe, because
Yes.
this is why are we like this, and as sports fans collectively, largely, our biggest gripe is that 3-point shooting has become so prolific
Yes.
that players are so good at it, and now the game has really evolved to perimeter shooting to the point where, like, in a matter of a couple of minutes, not only will you see a ton of 3-point
Yes.
shots and not really a ton of actual basketball being played, just a lot of perimeter, whatever, which my Celtics have done a lot of this. They did a lot of it in
They've
their
been very
champions-
successful in
right.
doing this.
But then on top of that, there are so many prolific 3-point shooters now that it's a viable option.
I completely agree.
Okay.
Even that you got a 7'7" guy in Victor Wembanyama who's got a great 3-point
Everybody's a
shot.
good 3-point shot.
Like it's,
Yep.
here's how we can make it work, and here's where I would be interested. And I think the only way you can implement this at all is in the All-Star game.
Well, that doesn't count.
That big. Hold on, you got to try it somewhere
All right.
and at least wet the palate.
All right.
But this is how you do it. You basically you have it on for the first 2 to 3 minutes of each quarter.
Okay.
Turns off, and then for the last minute of quarter 1 through 3, it turns back on. But then in the fourth quarter, with 2 or 3 minutes to go, it's back on. And then all of a sudden, we see how this game evolves. I'm willing to see it as long as every game is on at the exact
Yes.
same time, and you don't have somebody underneath going like, well, let's get that over up, baby. Boom, LED for everyone.
Well, of course.
But
That would never happen.
No.
But your version of it is like it would be a predetermined
time
that the line is
constraint
always
that
on.
everyone has the line on at the
Right.
exact same time.
Yes.
So you could even have a countdown clock on the 3-point line, LED time,
Yeah.
5. People count down like it's fucking New Year's every
No,
fucking fourth quarter.
I genuinely, so my
Get
idea.
Dick Clark out there.
My idea, which is better than yours but similar, is that I think that they should have a thing where you never know when the line is gonna pop up, but you get a countdown, like you get like a, you know how the LED exists, so you get like a warning blink or something.
I like
And
that too.
And once it's on for 30 seconds, and this happens like.
have a new idea.
Okay, what do you got
I
now?
have a new better idea. This is better than both of our
okay.
stupid ideas.
Okay.
As much as I like your idea and like my
now
idea.
you've improved upon it.
But they're stupid. This is
Okay.
the better idea. This is how we do
Okay.
it. You get the LED light on, and it starts the exact same way you do it. But it starts at the same time as every show,
Okay.
every single game. So maybe it's like 5 minutes into the second quarter,
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to make that first 3-pointer, or else it
goes
goes away. But if you make it, it turns into a fucking NBA Jam. He's on fire from downtown, and you just get to keep it. You make 3 in a row, it stays for the rest of the quarter. We're going to have 300-point games. I love this. We're going to ruin basketball more than we're already doing.
That really would, because what would happen is like all this does is make the exact issue we have worse. Like that's literally the same issue we already have. You're just punishing teams who are worse perimeter shooters.
It's not my problem. Sorry, Paul Pierce. You've come up with an innovative idea
like,
that is impractical, stupid, and I fucking love it. Let's do it.
Your idea takes the current problem we have and
It makes it immensely worse.
It just takes the worst 3-point shooting teams, and now they don't even have the 3-point line.
In fact, I want
so now teams are winning 200.
No. We got Splash Brothers in their prime versus, I don't know, the Hornets for the last decade. The Hornets get the 3-point line all game, and they will still lose.
But they wouldn't, because what
Not
if they
this
didn't
current
make
version.
they didn't make their 3?
Not this current version, though. This
Well,
current version.
maybe.
They're actually getting better.
But like there is something, the idea of like an LED court element just in general, I feel like
Well,
is
we've been
kind
seeing
of
that.
delightful.
I mean, we've seen that in China. We've seen that in
Sure.
international
Yeah.
play. The LED courts that TCL has
well,
made.
yeah, Paul Pierce, as smart as he is, didn't think of that on his own.
He's not that smart. He had a chance to bed Terry Decker,
Yeah,
and he turned
blew
it down.
it with Terry Decker, and that was his 500th.
Woman
mistake.
ran a bank, bud. You're not going to do better.
Yes, and at the end of the day, he is, he is never going to be Kobe Bryant. So why not hit yourself to a different Los Angeles legend?
There's nothing
you know?
better than hearing a Celtic fan have to actually utter those words out loud.
Oh, well, I mean, before anything, I require myself to never sound stupid on a microphone. So
Remember that time he left the game in a wheelchair because he had to go to the bathroom?
genuinely, one of the funniest things ever. Again, this man is hilarious. And
No,
you
I
can't-
agree. I've been out with this man. I fucking love
And
Paul
you
Pierce.
are allowed to fake an injury and be wheeled out on a wheelchair if you did get stabbed 11 times or whatever it was, 11 times I believe it was, and then play like 2 months later an entire NBA season of basketball. So I think that gives you one free pass to not only be wheeled out on a wheelchair in the middle of an NBA game and then come back like nothing was wrong, but then years later say it was because you shit your
He
pants.
came down from the crowd like he was a member of the Shield when he came back in the game.
As would anybody.
Didn't say I had a problem, just said, what the
As-
fuck is happening?
As he should.
He went inside to go to the bathroom. I can't believe this is real life.
He said it. He said it.
I know he did. I'm not mad at him. I'm glad he was honest, but it's like you know what it is? That was the Celtics version of the bloody sock.
Well, the bloody sock was real.
I can't even take.
Do we
you
have to do
seriously
bloody
today.
sock? Oh,
I
we
can't
have to
take
do,
you seriously today.
Oh, we have to do bloody sock. on
Bloody
this.
sock. We're going Kurt Schilling bloody sock. Kurt Schilling. Let's start with
No,
Kurt
no,
Schilling,
no,
the
no.
most trustworthy of men.
Don't give it up yet because this is good. This is a teaser. At some point, we're gonna.
Yeah,
do
we're gonna
bloody
get
sock.
into the I want
Okay.
to test the DNA on that and find out how much DNA of it is ketchup.
Okay, I can't wait to do this with you. This is so thrilling and exciting. Wow, I'm pretty sure I could probably get the dude who did that suture like on this podcast.
Great.
Oh my god!
I bet I can get the sock in here.
Okay, I doubt it. I think it's in the
DNA
Hall of Fame.
testing. This will be a Dateline episode.
We turn into-
But did he
But
really?
We're just datelining each other.
I know I'm right. I do not trust Kurt Schilling as far as I can throw him, and it ain't that far. And I'm
I
a
don't-
strong man.
I don't trust Kurt Schilling, but I do trust other people around Kurt Schilling. However, it doesn't matter because this could be a whole episode. We have stuff coming for you. That's it for this particular show.
It is. It is. Guys, this has been The Regulars, and we appreciate you joining us. Like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast. And, of course, like and share and subscribe right here on YouTube. We'll be back on Friday talking to you all things Kurt Schilling and his sham bloody sock.
Just the most apropos.
Did
conversation
not
we had.
happen, and you're welcome. We are going to give you the truth.
No. Let's just be honest. You don't get to end it on that. I get the last word. It was the greatest moment in the history of professional sports.
When a man thoroughly lied about what
When
was
the
on a
worst
white
human
sock.
alive did one cool
At
thing
least you
one
dropped
time.
that. Yes,
Oh,
the
he's
worst,
the worst
fucking human.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't believe it took us this long to get
My
to Kurt
God,
Schilling.
I take 2 Dana Whites to a Kurt Schilling, and that, if you watch today's show.
This feels like a Friday thing to happen, and it's only Monday. Okay. Well, we did it.
Fuck you, Kurt Schilling.
Cheers.